Since we're on Life Guff,
Yeah,
I want to say to the world that I am a hypocrite
Uh-oh.
because I've taken, and this might not be news to listeners,
Heroin.
because no, not heroin, but I often take stances on this podcast that I then, in almost like a swerve, I very quickly turn around and contradict myself. I was also, before I get onto this, I was also thinking of the week, Barry, I still owe you a burger from that time Randy Orton wasn't the mystery partner against the Wilds. So, I haven't forgotten. That's nearly a year now, and I still haven't paid you back for that.
I actually forgot about that, and I brought it up often a few months after it happened, but I actually forgot about that.
Well, there's your update. I owe you still a burger.
Yeah.
But the reason why I'm a hypocrite, Barry, and this is gonna give you a little hint. This is gonna segue into video game guff a little bit.
Ooh.
Do you know what I've been playing this week, Barry?
Is it? Oh, can I guess? Can I guess?
Go for it.
Did you buy Zelda on the Wii U?
No.
Ah!
Did you buy it on the Switch?
Yes.
Oh, God damn it! I should have guessed that.
And I
Of
bought a
course you
Switch.
buy it on the Wii U.
Yeah, I have a Switch now, and I'm about 10 hours into Zelda. But see what happened before you start to judge me. What happened is that my brother got one.
The money fell out of my wallet in GameStop.
What happened was my brother got one, and he was playing it, and I was looking at it, and I went, well, "That's not fair that he has one and I don't have one." So,
What are you, 8?
well, it looked good, and he had it, and I wanted it. So,
Oh dear.
on Monday of this week, I went on GameStop's website, and they have the click and collect option. So I paid for it there and then, had it reserved, went into Blanchardstown Shopping Centre in the afternoon, and it was there waiting for me, brought it home. They didn't have a retail copy of Zelda, so I've not been licking cartridges. I did have to get the digital version. But I'm about 10 hours in, and I'll talk a little bit about that when we get to Game Guff for the week. But I am a hypocrite, so don't bother pointing it out. I'm well aware.
Alrighty.
It's alright. Stipulations don't mean anything in wrestling. So.
Yeah, I just feel it feels like because for the last few weeks I was like, I'm not getting one. Now this is Nintendo are stupid. This is the worst thing, and now I have one sitting in front of me. And I'm like, oh, Paul.
This is what they rely on. It's marks.
I'm a mark. I'm a goddamn.
Same as WWE. You know, the marks are going to watch it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, a buddy of mine got it. The pals I play Resident Evil with on my YouTube channel. I went over to record with him in our week off, and there it was sitting there, and I didn't play it, but it looked nice. But I had a little bit of self-control. You know what I mean?
I don't have that. That's why I'm still eating squashies as we record.
Yeah. Well,
I'm also
spent...
sorry. Before you go on, Barry, I'm also a hypocrite because for another reason, and which I've now forgotten. Never mind. Go on. I'll edit this bit out where I look like an idiot. Continue.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that. It's funny though because I don't know when I'm gonna get that burger for you, because obviously I'll be seeing you for Scrapper Mania
someday. I remembered why I'm a hypocrite, by the way. Which I forgot again. Hang on. What was it? Wait, give me a second. I will remember it. It's to do with the Switch. I'm looking at the Switch. Remind me, Switch, why I am a hypocrite.
Alexa, remind me why I'm a hypocrite.
Yes, I remember. Okay, so I'm going to say it now before I forget for a third time. I'm a hypocrite because I said before I bought the Switch that I would only use it as a home console, and that the whole portable aspect of it is useless to me and I would never use it. 90% of the time I'm playing it is at my parents' house. I brought it to work on Patrick's Day. I play for an hour before bed. I'm sitting in bed playing it. I hardly ever play it on the TV.
Well, of course, I knew if you got it that you do that, because that's ridiculous. That's just cutting your nose to spite your face. If you have it, use it for the purpose intended. You know.
Well, I didn't think that I was going to have the opportunities to use it that way. But as it turns out, yes. Anytime I go up to my parents' house, Switch comes. I'm sitting there playing the Switch. Hey?
I'm sure that's wonderful for everyone.
Well, no.
Paul's coming round for a lovely bit of company conversation.
No, for example, what I mean is we're watching the Man City Liverpool game today, and I was watching the game, and then at half time I pulled out the Switch for 20 minutes, and then I watched the second half while people were up going to the bathroom, getting something to eat, that kind of stuff. Anyway, a damn fine purchase. I did get the all black one. I made a mistake because I did want the red and blue one. And when I pre-ordered, I clicked on the all black one. And then when I went to the shop, they asked me if I ordered the black one or the red and blue one. And I said stupidly the black one. And I said, well, if you have the red and blue one, I'll take that. And they said, no, it already went through. And I was like, well, why'd you fucking ask me then? I should have lied. Should have said the red and blue one. Oh, well. I did get in GameStop as well. So, 330 euro. And then Zelda was 70, so 400 altogether. Was it a worthwhile purchase? You'll find out in a little bit, you little...
Paul?
Yes.
I believe you have a Switch review.
I do. Well, let me talk about the Switch, and I'll talk about Zelda as well. So, I already mentioned earlier in the podcast that I did buy a Switch and that I play it, the majority of it, in portable handheld mode. I don't know if when you said you had a look at the one in your mate's house, Barry, the portable mode in action, it's quite remarkable. The screen is very big. It only displays a 720p, but playing Zelda on is quite remarkable. It's very clear, very crisp. When you play it on the TV, it does upscale to 900p, so even then it's not quite a 1080p. But it's a great looking game. I will say, in handheld mode, performance is pretty much flawless. When I play it in the docking station on the TV, I have noticed from time to time a little bit of a lag in terms of like when a lot of stuff is happening on screen, it does kind of start to chug a little bit, but very, very minimal. Like, now, like I say, I have been playing it 90% of the time in handheld mode. The system is very thin. It's much thinner than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a little bit closer to how the Wii U gamepad feels, which is very thick. No, it feels like a proper modern like tablet. Obviously not as thin as something like the iPad, because it does have like the controllers and stuff, but it's quite thin. It's probably no more than a centimeter thick, thereabouts. The Joy-Cons, the two slide-off, slide-on controllers feel good. I don't have I've heard other people who reviewed it saying like the buttons are very small. I have no problem with the buttons, and I don't have huge hands. My hands are pretty big. No problem with playing it either in handheld mode or on the Joy-Con grip controller that you get with the console. Both of those feel natural and easy to get used to for me. So in terms of Zelda itself, obviously I'm a huge Zelda fan. I've played every Zelda console game since Link to the Past, which was one of my first.
Which one's that?
It was on the Super Nintendo. Came out in 1991.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I never played for just so people know, I never played the original Legend of Zelda, and I never played Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link on the NES. I never had an NES, so I didn't play either of those games, and I never played them on Virtual Console or anything.
Yeah.
Played Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, Link Between Worlds, Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks. So I played all those. I did play Link's Awakening, didn't really like it. I never played Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, but I have played the majority of Zelda games. I have played all the Zelda console games, aside from the two.
They need to make more puns using the word link, like Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds. You know what I mean?
Well, Link Between Worlds was a sequel to Link to the Past, so that made sense.
It's like linking arms. Call it like some kind of real time strategy game where you control Hyrule's army and you call it linking arms. Fix that link.
Broken link.
Broken link. delete.
So I'm about 10 hours in, I would say.
Okay.
Loving it, obviously. I do want to say, though, I do feel like it is a game that you do have to have played other Zelda games to really enjoy. Not that there is, constant callbacks and things like that, but it is very, very kind of exploration heavy. So for what I mean by that is 10 hours in, I've barely even scratched the surface of like the main quest. I'm just going around and finding things. And if you don't have, the context of playing maybe at the very least one of the previous Zelda console games, Ocarina of Time or Wind Waker or something like that, and you don't already have, the satisfaction of finding a chest and opening it up, that point of reference for this game, you probably would find it very, very slow and almost too open. So one of the games previously that I played was Skyward Sword on the Wii, which I think is probably the worst of the Zelda games I've played. It's the last proper one. Was super, super linear. So for example, Barry, you're playing Horizon now.
Yeah.
Imagine playing Horizon with the linearity of an Uncharted game and with motion controls.
Oh.
That's kind of what you're dealing with here. Is Zelda is a game that is, the reason that Zelda existed. The story is that Shigeru Miyamoto wanted to replicate the feeling he had as a child, going and running through gardens and meadows and just exploring and finding things under trees and stuff. That's what Zelda's supposed to be. Going in caves and stuff. And then, for whatever reason, they made Skyward Sword like super, super linear. There's no exploration in that game at all. The game very much forces you, okay, you can go to this area now. And then there's only one path you can take, and you just go that way, and that's it. So for this game, they did the exact opposite. And you just start the game right in the center of the world and literally go where you want. There's not even like, from the very start, there's not for the first few hours that your hand is forced that you can only go in one direction. It's from the beginning, for the most part, is you're in this kind of small. Well, I say small. I originally thought it was the whole area of the game, and I went, Jesus, this is huge. Only to find out it's actually even bigger than that. You're in this opening area, and you have to do like a quest or two, and then that opens up the rest of the world to you. But literally, you can go north, west, east, south, literally whatever you feel like. And it's completely up to you as the player to kind of mold your own experience from it. So I haven't even looked into the north or the west of the map. I've only been in the southeast, looking around that area, finding hidden treasures and stuff. As you progress through the story, you unlock like a character mode, or excuse me, a camera mode.
Oh yeah.
And that opens for you like what's called a Hyrule Compendium, where like you take a picture of a dog, and then that fills in a space in your list. It's funny because I was talking the day before I unlocked this in the game. I was talking to Natty about like, you know what I miss? I miss collecting Premier League stickers and putting it like in the sticker album. And then Zelda was like, "Don't worry, we got you. Here's that exact thing you like." And so now, like, for the last like 3 hours, I've been playing Zelda as like Pokemon Snap, where I'm like, there's an animal I now have, yeah, and I get my camera out, like trying to take a good photo of it. And
So they'd like Nintendo partner with like Topps and the English Premier League, and you're just taking a picture of Wayne Rooney.
No, but there's like 240 things in the game you have to photograph. Right. And now I'm just like doing that, snapping stuff. But also works in terms of like, killing this enemy will give you these resources. Like you'll get raw meat from this specific enemy, and you can cook that and get this, which replenishes this much health and so on. So when you take a photo of it, that kind of keeps that information about the item in your little album, So I can say, oh, this is where this thing is found. this is the benefits this item gives you, and so if you want to get it again, it kind of will lead you back to it. The story is great so far. Again, I'm not super far into it, but I'm really enjoying what I've seen. Again, though, I feel like if you haven't played a Zelda game before, it won't resonate with you as much. I don't want to get too much into it, but if it's your first Zelda game, not that you won't enjoy it, obviously it's a really great game, but I feel like I'm enjoying it more having already that kind of foundation of knowledge about the Zelda series, and I feel like that's kind of important for this game. In a major change to the Zelda series, it used to be that the way you would progress would be by collecting items in each dungeon. So in the first dungeon, you get the bow and arrow, and then that will lead you not only through that dungeon, but that will kind of allow you to then progress to the second dungeon. And in there, you find another item, and then you go to the third dungeon. It's very much like that, where you're building up. Metroid, I guess, the Metroid series is also very much like that, where you're building up your array of items, and that's what kind of allows you to progress through the game. In this, so far, items just come and go. You don't have like your sword. You just pick up swords throughout the game. The swords break, then you get a new sword, and it keeps going like that. So you're ever going through your list of inventory. It's not like, even in something like The Witcher, which I've been playing, you have your, best sword. That's the one you use all the time. And when it starts getting worse in terms of wear and breakdown, you repair it, but that's your sword you use. In this one, it's just like, you're using this sword, oh, it breaks. Okay, let me find a different sword. And then you get like the satisfaction of where you open a chest and you're like, fuck, this sword is twice as good as the sword I've been using for the last 8 hours. And then you have like an even better sword. But you know that sword will only last so long. So you're trying to kind of plan for when you're going to use that super powerful sword when you meet a stronger enemy. And it gives that extra dimension that Zelda games never had before, where you kind of have to strategize a little bit more in terms of, okay, what items do I have right now? What can I get by with using now so that I can save the better stuff for later? If you're fighting like a lower strength enemy, you don't use your best sword, unless you're very low on health and you want to kill it with one hit, and you stuff like that. The world is huge. I early on I did kind of feel overwhelmed by it because it's so big. But the more you get into it, the more you kind of appreciate how big it is. Where like in and this isn't a spoiler, but every Zelda game that's set in Hyrule, as this one is, has kind of its areas like Lake Hylia, Death Mountain. And Death Mountain in the past never really felt like this huge area like it was supposed to. But in this game, when you see the map for Death Mountain, you're like, fuck, it's like a real mountain. In terms of scope, it's just so big. You're like, God, I could spend 10 hours just looking around this area. It's that big. So, bad news. What this means is that Witcher 3 is on pause. Ooh. My original plan was going to be, when I am sitting in the living room, I'll play Witcher, and when I'm in the bedroom in portable, I'll play Zelda. But although they're more different than I thought they would be, Zelda is a lot more. God, I don't know how to describe it without saying Zelda-y, but Witcher is a lot closer to your Game of Thrones in terms of that kind of like high fantasy genre. Zelda, I thought it was going to be very similar, but it's actually very, very different. The only way that this difference actually impacts how I can play is that the controls are so different that if I was to continue playing Witcher, I would find it very hard to get used to the controls of Zelda. Where, for example, the button to sprint is not the same in Zelda as it is in Witcher. Now, you can switch the sprint button, in fairness, but also the button to, like on PS4, for example, Barry, you know that the X button is often the one you use to like talk to someone or choose an option. In Nintendo consoles, historically, and this even goes back as far as like the Super Nintendo days, that button, the bottom button of the 4, which on Nintendo consoles is the B button, has historically been used for cancelling. So it's almost like the circle button on the PS4. So it's almost like X and circle are inverted for Nintendo games. So that's something like that. Switching back and forth would be impossible then for me to get used to one way of playing. So I'm just playing Zelda now. But when I finish Zelda, it'll be straight back into Witcher. And Witcher has kind of left an impression on me. Like, I'm not worried about like forgetting quests or anything. I think I'll be pretty much able to pick up exactly where I left off without much of an issue. So that's Zelda. Really, really liking it. Still 10 hours in. Still haven't really scratched the surface of the main quest. There are 120 shrines in the game, which are like mini dungeons.
Yeah.
And I think I've done about 20 of those, maybe. So as a general kind of idea of how far into the game I am, you could say, well, I've done 20 of 120 things that are to do with it. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there'll be more Zelda updates as you progress through the wilderness.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But, let me tell you, it's going to be tough going back to The Witcher after playing something else for an extended period of time.
We shall see.
Yeah. So that's Game Guff for this week.